Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, guiding you through the trails of Glacier National Park. And in this episode, an epic hike. I don't know what other word to use, but we are going to be taking you on the spectacular loop of Dawson-Pitamakin over in the Two Medicine area. And we've done this a handful of times, and it's unbelievable in all of the different views that you get into areas of the park, the peaks that you encircle, and the places that you get to, and all the views and all the different parts of the park, and just love it. And you will too. It's a challenge. It's a long hike and plenty of up and down, but it's one of our favorites. And Sarah, immediately, what do you feel? How do you get there? What are you feeling on your way to this hike?
Well, just doing a little bit of research on this, I want to go there right now and do it.
Right.
But I can't. As you said, it's a spectacular alpine loop, and you get there from the Two Medicine Valley. And it's a long day, and you can start in a couple different areas and, kind of end in a couple different ways. So we'll kind of discuss that a little bit, but there's so much to talk about with this hike. I'm not sure we can fit this in one episode, but we'll really try.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want you to get there pretty quickly so people know where to start, but just a summary. It's a long hike, so you can use it, you can do it as a day hike. It's 19 miles plus or minus a half mile, depending on where you start and, how you track it. But it's, so it's pushing 20, which is a good amount for a day hike, and up over 3,000 feet in elevation gain. Up and down, you're going to encounter the same amount of descent as ascent, as it's a loop. It's one of the few and one of the best full loop hikes in Glacier. So Sarah, you get there, there's a couple of options. We've talked about the Two Medicine area before. Two Medicine Lake is awesome. It's the highest lake in Glacier National Park that you can drive right to, and it's got a splendid boat tour on the Sinapa that you can take across. But it all those things, and the campground, the camp store, it's nice amenities, but it affects this hike.
Yeah, so the typical trailhead is at Prairie Lake, which is right near Two Medicine Campground, and you can go either towards Dawson to Pitamakin, or you can go to Pitamakin to Dawson. Mm-hmm. And some people start at the entrance ranger station. You can take the Dry Creek in as well. Not a whole lot of mile difference there. You can also shave off a couple miles by taking the Sinapa, the boat, and going across. You can do that in the beginning, or you can go to their booth or reserve ahead of time in the morning and get a ticket for a return trip. So if you go Pitamakin, which is, counterclockwise, you can end and shave off some miles on some tired feet.
If you make it.
Yes, you do have to get there at a certain time, and it's usually in the 5 o'clock hour, but I would definitely double check that when you purchase your ticket, like when's the last, and if you miss the boat, you can hike out.
Sure.
It's nice at the end of the day to shave off some miles if you want to.
Yeah.
We've done it before, shaving off miles in the beginning. Mm-hmm. We've only actually ever gone the Dawson-Pitamakin way, so we've gone
correct
clockwise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people have different opinions on that. And you said it. Let's hit that again quick. The Sinapa is the boat that goes across Two Medicine Lake, and definitely recommend reserving ahead of time. And you usually get a round trip, and so depending on the way you do this, you'll just use one of those directions. And I believe, as you said, the last boat is at 5, and it's a round trip. So it's going to be sometime after 5 p.m. if you go in a counterclockwise direction to catch that. And you'll just be, if you see it coming, you'll just be running.
Well, and it's a long day too. So if you're wanting to shave off miles in the morning, I think the earliest the boat leaves, and again, it can change year to year. I believe it's 8. Mm-hmm. So in such a long day, you're like, man, I kind of want to start earlier than that. So shaving off miles and taking the boat at the end might be your better choice.
Yeah. So it's as we get started, where to go, where to start, what your options are. And we do have to say at the outset, we are going to pronounce this as Pitamakin. It is, a word from Blackfeet Nation, and often it is referred to as Pitamakin Pass.
I think both are fine.
I believe both are acceptable, but I heard it straight from a Blackfeet man, and he said Pitamakin. So that's where we're going to go with this, and let us know.
So this trail, as we said, it's pretty long. It's also super windy, especially in higher elevations, the passes. You're going to go over a couple different ones. So make sure that you have some sort of wind protection. There isn't a whole lot of water once you get into the alpine level. So, you have a couple, research that a little bit on where is the last time to filter. If you go the Dawson route, it's No Name Lake is the last time to filter if you go down all the way to the lake. And then coming back over Pitamakin, you come down, and if you're going to go by another backcountry site. Actually, that's another point too, is both of these lakes have backcountry sites. So if you want to break up this trail, you can certainly do that. You just need to reserve in advance. But Old Man Lake is another place where you can filter. You just have to drop down a little bit off the main trail to the campground, drop some elevation, and then come back up. So yeah, she said Old Man Lake, there's Young Man Lake, there's No Name Lake. And so sometimes it's, whatever's the easiest. And so, but you'll catch a lot of the views of each of these lakes. Yeah. And this is kind of a late season hike too. They do have some snow fields that linger for a long time in the higher country on some of these passes. So I would say July, August. You can also get reports from the ranger station too, to see where we're at with everything. And on the NPS website, they'll say if any trail closures or anything. So definitely don't proceed if there's snow. It's not safe. The section behind, I guess
between Dawson and Pitamakin Pass.
Yes, behind Flinch and Morgan. It can be pretty sketchy, with snow and ice and the strong gusty winds. It's not really safe. So if you're starting from the North Shore Trailhead by Prairie Lake and you're going towards Dawson Pass, it's about 6.5 miles up to the pass. And the elevation gain is the same both directions. But if you choose Dawson Pass, the way that we like to go, it is a calf burner getting up to Dawson Pass. It's more difficult versus the more gradual incline going the Pitamakin way.
Yeah. The elevation is condensed into fewer miles. And so it's steep up to Dawson and then a little bit more gradual coming down from Pitamakin back to, your starting and ending point. So it's whatever you prefer. A lot of times, I think we enjoy working hard to get up in the steep section and then gradually chilling out as we descend and take the rest of the trail. But certainly you can do it either way.
Yeah, the elevation at Dawson Pass is 7,600. And once you're at the pass, you actually climb, you do a few switchbacks going up until you reach, the west-facing face of Flinch Peak. And then it somewhat levels out in a way. And it's kind of cool going from one valley. We talked about this before, being a loop, starting at one valley and ending in another. So you kind of see what's on the other side of Rising Wolf, which is kind of your center point. You're hiking around this big mass of a mountain. Yeah, you'll realize if you look at a map that it's right in the middle of your loop. And just to be clear, you start and finish at the same place is the intention. You're looking at different valleys and coming down through them. Yeah, and if you decide to take the boat in the morning and you're going to end over at the campground, it's only a mile walk back to where you parked your car. You did. I had to do that. It was a mile run, a jog. Yeah, after a long day. Yeah. Oh, you're so strong. Well, that's me. But we'll back to the backcountry permits too, Sarah. You need to get those way early. The lottery's sometime in March, usually. But there are a lot of options. I mean, you can camp, as we mentioned, at Old Man Lake. There's a loop that we did going from Two Medicine up into the Cut Bank area. Some great campsites along that path, along that trail. So there's a lot of options you can get into. You can go to Cut Bank Pass. You can branch off, all kinds of different directions. And this hike just offers so much. Pitamakin Pass is a little bit higher than Dawson Pass. It's at 8,138 feet. So you do gain a little bit as you head that direction, but it's not terrible. And I just love the views when you get up at Pitamakin Pass. It's just amazing. You can look onto the other side in an area that's not visited very much, down at Pitamakin Lake and towards, Morning Star Lake and campground. And then you get good views of the Nyack when you're crossing. It's just, I really like this hike. Yeah. I'll tell you this, when you get there, Pitamakin Lake, deep blue, beautiful down beneath you, and it looks like a guitar pick. That's the shape that I remember.
and I love it. It's such a beautiful lake. But we're kind of halfway through this, and we've got more to say. Stick with us. We're going to take a short break.
The best part of a long hike? The view at the top. The best part of Freedom Bank? Seeing our customers reach their goals. We bring you the tools to bank anywhere, the service you expect from a neighbor, and the determination to make things happen. Let's make your financial view as stunning as Glacier's peaks. Freedom Bank, we want to be your bank. Give us a call at 892-1776. Member FDIC.
Welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and in this episode, Dawson-Pitamakin Loop in the Two Medicine area, a near 20-mile hike with a good couple of 3,000 plus feet of elevation gain, but absolutely wonderful, spectacular views. The mountains that are surrounding you, the valleys and the lakes, just little blue jewels way down below. You got to do it. If you can do it, take it and go. Take this adventure.
Yeah, there's a couple mountains if you're feeling ambitious and you got a ton of gas in your tank, there are a couple options for doing some mountains. Not super difficult. There's maybe one or two technical ones. And again, we've talked about this before, with any mountain you plan to summit, you got to do your research ahead of time. You just don't want to bust something out and know the route and all this and that. But just so you know, that is an option.
Yeah, loved it when we did Rising Wolf, saw that Grizz, ran into a lot of weather, though. Unbelievable pelting rain coming in from the Nyack.
With anything in Glacier, you just be prepared for anything.
Yeah, and even when we backpacked in this area, that's something that you can plan. We mentioned that. Don't forget important dates. Generally, the lottery to get a backcountry permit in Glacier is in March, mid-March. And so you've got to take that step. Then you either do or don't get a chance to book a trip in the backcountry and reserve your sites and piece it together. But we'll in another episode, we'll kind of talk about all of the important dates in Glacier. If you're planning something like this, something as big as this hike or an extended trip, you've got to be really aware of the dates that come up, more quickly than you might think. So you're planning your trip early in the year for that summer. Sarah, this trail has a lot of wildlife opportunities, viewing opportunities.
Yeah, I would say moose is your most likely encounter, and make sure you make a ton of noise because you are in grizzly country. Keep your bear spray in the front, make a ton of noise. In fact, a section when you're coming, I would say the section between Old Man Lake backcountry site and down to Prairie Lake or the campground, it's some of the most lush huckleberry patches I've ever encountered in the park. And I know this probably comes up every so often, but I mean last year, and I know the seasons, they fluctuate, different patches fluctuate, but it is so thick and abundant. And we encountered lots of bear tracks, mostly black bear. But it's, these bears this is where they're feeding and they're eating. So make a ton of noise. But moose, we see almost every time, if you're doing the North Shore Trail, if you're doing, the section from Prairie to Old Man, this is moose territory here in Two Medicine Valley. Yeah. And
of course there's opportunity to see other wildlife, and that's why we love it. There's so many things that Glacier is all about. You can capture on this hike. And I want to kind of talk about the sections because they are a little different. If you start and where we're talking about there and head up to Dawson Pass first, that's like 6.5 miles, cut off 2 by the boat if you'd like. It's another 3+ miles between the two passes as you turn north on this particular trip. And then you're heading back, down, and that's another 8 miles. And so add it up, and any off-trail excursions. There's a lookout point on the reverse side of the loop. And I'll tell you this, it's a wonderful hike because you're starting out and you're heading west. And the direction of the sun in the summer, it's behind you. It's at your back, and the views are lit up. And then as you turn the couple of corners to get going the other direction, the sun is now again at your back, and just beautiful views in both directions. And Sarah, the in between the two passes is a little sketch, right? I mean,
yeah, I mentioned that before. It can be a little bit narrow. It's kind of on the edge of a little bit of cliffing. So we talked about it's going to be really windy. So sometimes you got to lean into the mountain.
Pray for that
with
breeze
one
up
hand.
the slope. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want to cross it if there's, snow or, ice at all, of course.
Yeah. Be prepared.
I do want to mention that I'm going to call this the Pitamakin Wall. I don't really know the name of it, but if you're coming from Dawson heading towards Pitamakin and you're up at Pitamakin Pass and you're looking down on Old Man Lake, that's the direction you're headed. You kind of switch back down the steep wall. There is so many wildflowers in this section. It's so beautiful. And also we've fished. Your brother has fished out of Pitamakin Lake.
Out of Old Man Lake, I think.
Yes.
Check your regulations.
For sure.
Yeah, we can't totally, endorse one or the other or how many you can catch or keep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pulled a couple catch and release out of Old Man Lake.
Yeah, and that's, like I said before, this is another place where you can filter your water if you've brought a water filter, which I totally suggest. And it's kind of crazy around Old Man Lake backcountry site. So it's a bit of a ghostly forest, so to speak. And it's old, unfortunately, it's white bark pine trees that have been killed by the blister rust. And we see this in the park in different areas. It's a non-native fungus, and it affects all these high elevation forests in the park, and specifically the white bark pine, which is super important. The cone production, you can look that up, but it's sad that those are going away. So, but when you're camping there, you can kind of hear the wind going through the treetops of this ghostly forest, and it's either a little bit spooky to you, or it can be a little bit, this is relaxing and calming. But it's kind of an interesting sight to see that.
So as we mentioned before, Two Medicine is such a sacred place for the Blackfeet, and so many wonderful names of these mountain peaks. And Pitamakin has its own origin. Running Eagle, I think, is the quickest and easiest way to translate that. And Sarah, Running Eagle Falls is a beautiful short hike, just before you get into the Two Medicine area. Will you talk a little bit about, there are a lot of options for hikes. Let's say you're in a group and some of you are up for this almost 20-mile hike, and some of the group wants something shorter. I mean, you can go up to Dawson Pass and back. You can hit Twin Falls kind of out of the way.
Upper Two Med Lake is another option.
Upper Two Medicine Lake,
yeah.
Yep. Running Eagle.
Scenic Point. Yeah, and here's an option too. If you're coming in and you plan on camping at the campground there, which is another option too, to stay. The day you come in, you could do a little warm-up hike and go to Running Eagle. It's not going to wear you out by any means, but, get out and stretch your legs, camp, get up the next morning and do this epic hike. But yeah, there's a lot of options if you're not up for it, but you're staying in the Two Med Valley. And we have episodes on some of these.
So much to explore. Scenic Point is great. And that's totally different. I mean, you're on the dry ridges of the Crumhills trees, and you can see 100 miles east, into a bit of the plains. So there's so much in this area. It's just positioned in such a great place. And this hike is great. It crosses the divide, the Continental Divide, and right around Pitamakin Pass. And that's so great. The CDT, the Continental Divide Trail. We saw that guy camping at Morningstar Lake, and he was finishing his lifetime CDT with his last stretch up to Waterton. And he was excited. It was really neat to see. But you're on the Continental Divide. Like, this is an awesome area. So this hike is positioned in a wonderful place with pretty much everything that Glacier National Park has to offer. It's a challenge, as we mentioned, 19 miles, thereabouts, 3,000 plus feet of elevation gain. And descent. It's a loop, but it circles Rising Wolf Mountain, which is just incredible, an incredible peak. You start near Two Medicine Lake, you get out to all these other lakes, Pitamakin, Old Man. There's camping, there's backcountry options. Wildlife is abundant, and you again look into some things like Glacier Park Boat Company to shave off some miles if you'd like to. But we believe in you, and maybe we'll see you out there. It's a great, really challenging hike that you can take, and it just is one of the best.
And when you're done, don't forget to stop at the camp store there, because you will be rewarded with an array of goodies and cold beverages.
Soft serve ice cream still?
I don't know if they still have it.
I think they do.
Oh, I hope they do.
So take our recommendation. The Dawson-Pitamakin Loop hike is just one of the best in the park. Thanks for listening. Check out our Instagram page at Hiking Fools MT to see some great photos from our recent adventures. And tune in next time. You can check out more episodes online. And remember to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go.